Maplestory the Novel, Season 1, Sacred Tears. Written by Tatsumari Korisuno. Chapter 8, Part 1. Hope?
Ephenia, where did you find the alcove dew?
Dane asked, looking over a self-made map of the Victorani province. Using Heim's tree as the center, he mapped out the province for nearly a year. During his travels, Dane searched for a place to serve as the ideal spot away from most civilizations to study the world's darkness. At the same time, he marked sites where rare and powerful herbs, saps, and flowers were located.
It should be near the Cronulla outskirts where some rather unusual air-breathing sea creatures live. Why do you ask?
Ephenia floated down from the shelf she attended where Dane's research scrolls and journals were neatly stored. Setting a hand on Dane's shoulder, she looked over the map and current magical formula he was working on.
It is just a theory, but I believe the alcove dew may have what I need to extract the darkness.
You said Heim told you that it was dangerous. I thought you said we should counter it instead.
She asked, raising an eyebrow. Dane sighed long and slow, looking to the map once again and counting how many days it would take him to reach Cronulla.
I did say that counting it was our only option, but I cannot accept that reality. I am certain there is a way not only to extract it, but to vanquish it at the same time.
Ephenia slowly sat down next to him, looking up to his face.
Didn't Heim say that darkness need to be put somewhere or have the hearts be counseled? You are powerful for a human, but even you have your limits.
Ephenia pressed, furrowing her brow. Even for a deity, dabbling in this darkness was a dangerous feat. It would be 100-fold more hazardous for a human.
I believe through the power of light, the darkness of the world can be eliminated.
Ephenia felt a shiver in her soul. Using the power of light directly might work, but even with her limited understanding of the darkness, she knew it would be much more stubborn than that. Heim said as much.
Are you sure that it will work?
She asked. Dane grinned and looked back to the map, a sure sign that even he didn't know.
It's been a year since I was finally able to let myself heal, to let go of the pain of Menodora and let you in. Your light has melted away my darkness and strengthened my light. If I can harness that, I should be able to simultaneously extract and vanquish the darkness.
Hasn't your research found that only the ultimate light can do that?
Yes, and thanks to you, I believe I've found that once again.
He grinned, putting his arms around her waist, pulling her close to him, and pressing his lips to hers.
But what if there's still some small bit of darkness within us? Would that hamper our efforts?
Ephenia asked, putting her hands on his chest.
The world's darkness is only getting worse, and it needs to be dealt with now.
Don't assume that what needs to be done takes precedence over your own heart, Dane. It takes time to heal wounds like that.
She insisted.
I think you've forgotten how long a year is for us humans.
Dane teased with a smile.
I have healed as much as I think I ever will, and I have accepted that there may be a tiny speck of darkness within me for all eternity.
He grinned, kissing her lips once again.
And now that I have healed, I feel that time is running out for us to correct this imbalance.
Dane spoke in a voice that was almost a whisper, sending nervous chills running down Ephenia's back. Closing her eyes, she breathed slow and deeply, wishing she could deter Dane from this path. She felt as if he were taking a road that she couldn't follow, but knew it must be done.
I can alter time in a single place, if that would help.
Ephenia offered, opening her eyes and looking directly into the cutting blue of Dane's.
I fear that would distort the results of my experiments. I don't plan on extracting it all at once. As you said, even I have my limits.
He replied.
I will find the answer. I almost have it.
He breathed. Ephenia sighed, trying to suppress the uneasy feeling in her heart. She had been watching the coming disaster. Unfortunately, she still couldn't find the driving force behind the tragedy, no matter how she widened her gaze.
What if you were to talk to my brother, Nanahuatzin? He is the Deity of Light, and I believe he can channel the ultimate light. What if you were to talk to my brother, Nanahuatzin? He is the Deity of Light, and I believe he can channel the ultimate light.
Dane nodded in understanding, a light of revelation shining in his eyes.
Yes, that would be a great help. The Deity of Light should be able to eradicate the darkness with ease.
Ephenia hoped the smile in his voice meant she had coaxed him away from dealing with the darkness directly. Dane pulled away and began looking over his map again, trying to figure out where Nanahuatzin's main temple would be. Ephenia stayed back, turning her thoughts to what the Mirror of Time had shown her. The Great Disaster. A billowing mass of dark clouds, warring peoples, and death. So much death. There was one glimmer of hope, one tiny chance to avoid this dark path. She had to convince Dane not to pursue purging the world of darkness and find another to take up his cause. Not knowing what caused the great disaster made the chance even slimmer, but it was one the goddess was willing to take.
Would you be willing to persuade your brother to grant me an audience?
Dane asked. Ephenia grinned and nodded, walking to him and kissing his forehead.
I will. I'll be back in a little while.
She soothed, laying down in their nest-like bed and closing her eyes as her mind returned to her original body. Once he was sure she had gone, Dane's face became blank as he took out a journal and a bottle from his sleeve. Within the bottle was a swirling black mist, scraping against the glass with invisible claws.
I can pull tiny bits like you from the world, but it is not enough,
He hissed as he pulled off the cork. The mist within the bottle surged out, swirling in the air before him like a snake ready to strike. Dane lifted his arm as streaks of light gathered in his palm.
I will cleanse you from this world.
Dane said to the cloud, which turned its narrowed eyes to him, dozens of indecipherable whispers filling the air around them.
You out of your depth, little mage.
The cloud growled before lunging at him.
You have quite a proposal, White Mage.
Nanahuatzin said from behind a grandly embellished screen, his voice reverberating through the magnificent throne room. Putting a hand to his chest, Dane bowed low.
However,
The deity announced. Dane looked up from under his brow to Nanahuatzin with disappointed agitation.
I cannot do what you suggest.
Dane growled in his throat as he stood to his full height.
Didn't Ariel explain to you why I am seeking your assistance?
Dane asked with an edge in his voice.
She did, but the ultimate light you speak of, while I am aware of its existence, is something I cannot channel nor control. It is a light exclusive to humans.
Then you will do nothing while the world is swallowed by the darkness?
Believe me when I say that I have tried!
Nanahuatzin thundered, standing with force as his golden armor spines fizzled with electricity. Dane shied away when he stood, realizing that he may have offended him. Taking a breath, Nanahuatzin stepped down from his throne towards the outer edge of the screen.
This darkness is not something that natural light in its purest form, my domain, can combat. At best, my light can only hold it back.
My lord Nanahuatzin, I may have overstepped my bounds, but please do not step from behind your screen, or I shall be turned to dust at the very sight of you.
Dane exclaimed, covering his face with his sleeve in hopes that he would at least delay his destruction.
Turn to dust, you say? Have you spoken with my brother Haim?
Nanahuatzin asked, a devious grin in his voice.
Yes, I fear that your light is too much for me.
Dane answered when he heard a hearty laugh.
You believe too easily, White Mage. Haim has been walking among humans for so long that he believes as they do. He may be the deity of life, but he has forgotten much in his time walking amongst them.
He laughed as Dane lowered his sleeve to see Nanahuatzin dressed in kingly garb of red and gold. Pauldrons shaped as feathers sat on his shoulders, matching the bracers on his arms.
Over the long millennia, humans of your world have created some rather interesting stories about us. I suppose, though, it is expected as fewer and fewer actually believe in us, despite what they say. It seems that Haim didn't tell you your biggest secret either.